Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Allum.
Welcome to this week's edition of Inside Hilltopper Athletics. Coach Cooper, this is going to be a fun one because maybe the biggest coaching week of your life.
It was a big week for us as a staff, that's for sure, and us as a program, so looking forward to this one for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So we've changed the format a couple weeks ago where we were doing most recent game first, but to kind of set the stage, I want to reverse that this week. So let's start with last Wednesday, making the trip to Institute, West Virginia to play a red-hot West Virginia State team.
Yeah.
Who, if there would have been regional rankings at that time, would have probably been in the top 3 for sure, and came into the game ranked in the top 25 in the WBCA poll. So give us your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we knew going in it was a huge game, and for us, you know, big picture wise, we knew what a big week it was for us, more than just for the opponents, but for staying relevant in the regional picture when we look at big picture. Now, back to where we approached just looking at that game, we knew it was going to be a tremendous challenge. We felt like we gave some plays away at home against them and let them open up the game, and we had to play uphill down the stretch. So we wanted to get out to a fast start, and I thought we really did a nice job of doing that. To no surprise, though, they battled right back. It's a game that can put runs, a team that can put runs on you just like we do. So it was back and forth. But it was a fun game to coach, a fun game to be a part of, and really, really proud of our players because, you know, they just kept coming at us no matter what the lead we built was, and they kept taking it to 2 possessions. And we took some big-time shots and hit them and made some big-time plays on both sides of the basketball, and that's what it takes to get wins at this time of year against good teams.
Right. Well, you shot the ball so well, especially early in the game, and as a former coach, I think that's so huge that if you can make shots early and get to a double-digit lead, at least you're putting pressure on the opposition. But as you said, State, they didn't crumble. There's a reason that they're having a great year for them. And they did make their runs. So at the half, you're up. We get into the second half. What is going through your mind? What concerns you, or what did you feel really good about as you get into the second half?
Yeah, I thought, you know, if we cleaned up just a couple things defensively and made that comment to our team, that the reality was we hadn't played our best defense yet. And we needed to. And I thought we did a great job of cleaning up was our transition D for the most part. We did get a little bit greedy at one point trying to hit the O boards, and they got a couple leak outs. But you eliminate those 3 or 4 plays, and I thought defensively we were really good. We continued to rebound the basketball despite they were sending 4 and 5 to the glass, trying in the fourth quarter to just make something happen. But I thought overall we did a really nice job defensively, and we continued to stay in a flow offensively because of it.
Well, it was obviously a great game to watch. I'm sitting there live, and of course when I'm not doing TV, I'm getting incredibly nervous. I do want to throw a shout out. I had the opportunity to sit for an hour at least that night with Rachel Dito, a former legend from our women's basketball program, who was sporting a West Liberty sweatshirt and cheered like crazy for us. But let's talk three-point shooting a little bit and what that's meant to your team in the last.
Yeah, I think, you know, obviously we've taken it to another level and in turn the assists go up because we're taking great shots. I think it starts with shot selection. I think it starts with understanding the value of it. But three-point shooting has been obviously a staple of this program for a long time, dating back to when you were sitting in that seat. But for us, we're really understanding the ability of sharing the basketball and how it all comes back around. And no one is hunting shots. We're just playing the play that's in front of us, and in turn we're getting some really good looks. But it's amazing what the power of the three can do, and if you can defend the three-point line and you can knock down shots like we are at the volume we're hitting them game to game, you really can marginalize teams even in a back and forth event.
Well, you really, I don't want to say you comfortably won that game, but I don't think there was ever a time in that second half where I was thinking or our fans were thinking like, oh my, here comes State, you know, they can get us. Yeah. We rode that out pretty well, ended up scoring over 100 points in the game and beat a nationally ranked squad. So you had to be very, very happy. But we knew it wasn't going to get any easier. And that's the thing about the MEC on both the men and women's side and the teams that we have that are getting regional recognition is you're going to go through stretches where there's no easy games.
Right.
So let's fast forward from last Wednesday, big win at Institute. We host what has turned into a pretty good rivalry for us.
Yes, for sure.
But we're hosting the University of Charleston. So what was your mindset coming off of the state game as you're getting ready to play another regionally ranked team, a team that it was high as, I think, 10th in the country?
Yeah, and still receiving votes as well.
Yeah, still receiving. So what was your thought?
I think it was getting our team off of that high of getting that big win on the road and understanding we're basically every game's a championship right now for us, and we had to go play another one Saturday. So it's getting them to reset, also getting them to reset, and it's going to be a different style of game. And that's one of the things I think that's so unique about our conference, and it makes our conference so strong, is so many different styles of play with so much talent, where some of the other teams in the region and other conferences in the region, it's more of grinded out style of basketball on a consistent basis. With us, we've got to prepare for a lot of different things, and Charleston definitely gives us a different challenge.
Right. So they are a much different, philosophically speaking, team
Right.
than West Virginia State. So Don Clegg and I are on the air, and we were talking about keys of the game, and I said, for me personally, the biggest key for this Charleston game was a three-point line. Because you and Charleston came in 1-2
Yep.
in three-point field goal percentage.
Yep.
And you came in both top 4 and three-point field goal percentage defense. So
Right.
something had to give in this game, and boy, did it. So
Yes.
we get in against Charleston, and you can talk a little bit about that, but a much different start to this game
Yes.
than West Virginia State.
You don't want to take that one for me?
No, go ahead. I'll leave that one to you.
Okay. I just thought we got away from the brand of basketball that we've worked hard to create more consistently. I thought we were kind of playing their game. It was almost like we were grinding out possessions. We weren't moving the basketball as well. We weren't playing with as much pace. And all while doing that, we were allowing them to come at us both physically and athletically. And they were just dictating on both sides of the basketball. And the reality of it was we needed to get tougher. We needed to lean in. We needed to dig into our leadership and our program. And we needed to go find a way to just get back to doing what's made us successful to this point, what made us successful 3 days prior. And to our players' credit, they were able to do that because the first half was not pretty. It was messy. And honestly, I felt good just being as close as we were because it felt like we were in a bigger hole than that.
Well, there was a point there early in the second quarter where, as a fan, I was nervous, like this can completely get away from us. And boy, you talk about different time periods. So down at Charleston, not to bring up that fiasco, but up as many as 18, lost by 20, got outscored 50-17.
Right.
And early in that second quarter, we found ourselves down 18.
Right.
They had outscored us by 51 points
Right.
in like 32 minutes, but it just magically changed.
Yeah.
And to your point, we finally were able to get back to doing West Liberty things, whether it's through pace or in a half-court set. And Charleston had been so effective at taking the three away from you.
Right.
You hit a few at the end of that quarter.
Yep.
Cut the gap to 12 going into the half. So what's your mindset at the half?
It's just getting them to reset and buy back into what we've been doing and being successful in doing. And I think part of that is, it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to understand the roles that come into play there. Meaning we've got some veterans that know how to play and that are on top of that extremely talented. Those players need to not only be the ones pushing the action and making the plays, but we need the others to buy into following that. And I thought we were able to do that really early on in the third quarter. And that's a testament to our leadership and our veteran play. And that's one of those things as a coach that makes you feel good, because the reality of it is it wasn't necessarily anything that myself or Coach Seth or anybody else did. It was them getting back to what makes them them. And each of them individually doing that and us collectively doing that. And we got, again, in a flow, but it started with our defense and our rebounding and our toughness, and then it allowed us to drive the offense.
Right. Well, the thing that I think was the most impressive about this game is even the Charleston game down there, Charleston came out of the half down 13 or whatever, and they immediately just took over the game. The lead evaporated in 3 minutes.
Right.
They ride it out. And usually when teams come back from big deficits, that's the way it's usually scripted.
Right.
This wasn't.
No.
You didn't come out and cut it from 12 to 2.
Right.
you had to battle through a little bit of adversity
For sure.
in that third quarter. So,
And I'll just to speak on that point, like that's where I think the leadership was so crucial. And I'll also commend our coaching staff. We were not panicking at any point because we saw it was going back and forth. We thought it could turn. I think some of our veterans felt the same way. And in turn, we just kept weathering each of the little storms and just saying, this play, let's stack a couple plays. And then all of a sudden we were able to really start doing it.
well, both teams made plays down the stretch. You actually took a 2-point lead.
Right.
Charleston answered. I believe they took the lead. You answered. Great play at the end of regulation. Somebody got a finger on the ball, or we probably win that game with Sarda getting a layup.
Yeah, and hats off to Coach Seth. She took some of our sideline stuff and put a little wrinkle in that she thought would be effective. Then we tweaked the model again, and we essentially almost got the look we'd have if they don't make a phenomenal play defensively to help.
Yep. So, but you get in overtime, and again, when you're seeing two quality teams like this, you don't expect the deficit that happened.
Right.
For Charleston, you ended up winning double digits. So I still think maybe the best week of your coaching career, to have two quality wins like that when you really need them.
For sure.
So let's just wrap up this segment. Now it even gets more difficult. You're going and playing. Are they number 1, number 2 in the country?
I think they're currently 5. Obviously being on that committee, they might shift 1 or 2, but they're going to be top 5 in the country, playing really good basketball, very consistent, been the most consistent team in the league to date, and that's why they're sitting 1. But it's a tremendous challenge, but it's also a tremendous opportunity for us.
Yep. So, and we've given them some battles. So I actually even talked to Kim this morning, and she's nervous wreck about this game.
Which she got us winning by 30, 35.
Yeah,
it's usually
she
something
said
like that.
She's going to let us win, but she's not giving me free popcorn.
Oh, okay.
So, and I said, hey, I'll take that.
That's fair. That's fair.
So anyway, good luck down
you.
at Glenville on Wednesday. I'll be there. Congratulations to a big week. Congratulations to your team. And that wraps up this segment of Inside Hilltopper Athletics.
Disasters happen. Pick the team that takes care of them all. Powered by offices in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration is ready to handle any size emergency at a moment's notice. We have the right people, knowledge, and equipment to respond 24 hours a day.
I'm Kyle Cooper. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Hilltoppers call, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Allum.
Welcome back to Inside Hilltopper Athletics, men's basketball segment. Coach Howlett, who's always trying to let his assistants gain valuable experience and kind of let them share in the glory. So he is elected to let Connor Harr join us today. So Connor, welcome to our little podcast here, and I'm going to ask you some tough questions.
Hopefully you don't put me on the spot too bad and make me look too bad.
Question number 1, what's it like working for Ben Howlett?
I love working for Ben Howlett. He's awesome. Helps me out a lot, has been a tremendous mentor, and really enjoy my time with him.
So give us, before we get into what was a huge week for our men's basketball program as well, give us a little background on you.
On me? Okay, well, I'm 24 years old, just had a birthday 2 days ago, from Youngstown, Ohio. I spent 1 year before West Liberty at a Christian college in Lansing, Michigan called Great Lakes Christian College, where I kind of did the same thing there, helping out with the team as an assistant. And then before that, I was at Columbus State Community College as a student manager. And now I'm this is my 3rd year at West Liberty.
And this is something I know the answer, but I'm going to ask our viewers here, something you obviously want to do for a career.
Yes, of course.
And tell us a little bit, you have not a podcast, but what do you send out every week? You have something.
Oh, okay, yeah. So out of the season, it's more weekly. In season, since I'm so busy with other stuff that we got going on here, it's more monthly. But I send out a newsletter for all coaches, basketball fans, whoever. That's on Substack, a free subscription site. and it just has a bunch of X's and O's and different offensive ideas from anywhere, spanning from college basketball to the NBA.
Well, good. Make sure you give me the information because I've never had a chance to go on there yet. So I'm going to go on and take notes and things like that. So let's talk about last week. Very, very proud program, a program that's won 1 million championships here in the last 12 to 15 years. It's been an interesting season, maybe a little bit more parity in the Mountain East than we're seeing. But we traveled to Institute to play a West Virginia State team, if I'm not mistaken, was actually 15-0 at one time before we went down there, or they came up here, and we won a 2-point game against them. So what was the mindset, what was the fear, what was the concern as we traveled to Institute on Wednesday?
Number one, it's a pretty tough trip doing that 3-hour hike to Institute, and it's I feel like one of the tougher places to play. They had Alumni Day with a pretty big crowd there, and nothing new for us. We usually see everyone's biggest crowd, but starting with they got a ton of talent, and I think top to bottom they're one of the most talented teams in Division II in general. So always a tough matchup for us, and give credit to these guys for how they played. Individually, I think Bryce Butler played absolutely phenomenal. One of his better offensive games of the year, and then Christian Montague on both ends, Steve Kennedy on both ends, and a lot of credit to these guys for, kind of adjusting on the fly. State switched up what they were going to do defensively against us from last game and years past, and they handled it really, really well. So, obviously things to clean up as well from that game, but really proud of the guys and how they fought against, one of the tougher teams in the region.
Well, it got a little nerve-wracking. We actually, with a slow start, let's talk about the second rotation, the second five, and the impact they had on that game.
Yeah, it was huge. I believe we were down by 3 or 4 possessions only 2.5 minutes into the game. I don't know the exact score, but second platoon came in, got us right back to close to even. And credit to those guys. Like the first group came in slow, obviously with the adjustment of the run, but the second group really, really came in with a whole bunch of energy. It's flying around all over the place, and that's their MO. They need to have that extreme energy that when those guys from state, and they only went about 7 deep, but those 5 starters that are playing 2.5 minutes, getting pressed the entire time. When that second platoon comes in, they're able to turn state over and get really good shots just from playing as hard as they possibly can.
Right. Yeah, I thought they did a tremendous job. So West Liberty catches fire a little bit, forces some turnovers, have a double-digit lead for a lot of that game, and then, like it normally does, especially against a team the quality of West Virginia State, it got interesting down the stretch. So if Coach Howlett was here, I would ask him, but I'm going to put you on the spot. What is the mindset about how you're going to manage the last 5 minutes of a game? You're a press-based team. That's who you are. You're going to do it 95% of the time, but what is the thought? Back it off a little bit, keep going with it?
Yeah, obviously, we do still want to be true to who we are to an extent, but, when it's a couple possession game and, it might not be the most advantageous situation to be, trying to take away the inbounder off of a trap in the backcourt. So, guys are aware of that as well, and, we'll back it off just a smidge, but we're still who we are. But I think what was really cool about that game is in the past when teams have went on runs against us, whether that be first half, second half, whatever it is, offensively, we kind of panic a little bit. And, we might chuck up a quick 3 or 4 seconds into the shot clock. It might be contested, might be slightly contested. Guys will try to kind of take things into their own hands and play hero ball. And, it comes from a place of them being competitive and wanting to win. But we did a really good job of not panicking on the offensive end. And, our field goal percentage isn't reflective of that. Sometimes shots just aren't going in the second half. But I thought from our standpoint, we did a really good job of maintaining, our composure.
With timely free throw shooting at the end of the game.
Yes, of course.
So I think it was 9 of 10.
10 of 11, I believe. I think I remember it from Twitter, but.
Yeah, and you know how free throw shooting goes. If you miss one, it seems like 3. If you miss 3, it seems like 20 late in the game. But kids stepped up, knocked them down, and you're able to fortunately pull out a much needed game because you had a 1-game lead going into that. So we pull that win, and just like on the women's side, it doesn't get any easier. We come back here, and we're playing a team that you talk about rivalries. This has turned into a great one. We're going to welcome Dwayne Osborne and the University of Charleston. So thoughts going into that?
Man, Charleston's a phenomenal team. They're a really well-coached team. Dwayne does a really good job there, so do his assistants. But, I feel like we match up pretty well against them. And, Charleston is an elite team when, they're comfortable and, you let them do what they want to do on the offensive end and on the defensive end when they're able to dictate pace of the game. And, we always really, really make an emphasis of not only do we want to pressure them in the full court, but we want to pressure them just as much, if not more, in the half court. We want to take them out of what they want to do, deny their entries to their sets, make them bring the ball up the court with less time on the shot clock, all that stuff. And I thought that was kind of our game plan coming in was, our defense was going to dictate this game.
And I'll give Charleston credit because they did not get out of the gates well this season. You lose a player of the status of McManus, who was just a matchup nightmare, not only for us, but pretty much every team in the region. So they're trying to find their way, but boy, they took a couple early losses and then they caught fire. So they come up here, and it was probably the surprise of the season that the game did not go to script. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would say so.
And we always laugh. If you talk to either Coach Osborne or Coach Howlett, they're both 22-point underdogs in the game. But it was one of the few times that we really had our way early in the game. Even down there, which we ended up winning by a comfortable margin, I think it was 26-26 early in the game. This one, we jumped out. We pretty much kept it the whole way. So I can tell you, for an old guy like me, I don't mind those every now and then, that I can just sit up there and relax and not be in a little bit of a panic. But I thought pretty much from top to bottom, everybody on your team played well. It was a consistent outing. You didn't have extreme highs and lows. It was just pretty much pedal to the metal and got a good win. So, as always, there aren't a lot of easy games, and our schedule is not easy from here on out. But this week we travel to Glenville, a team that can be very, very dangerous.
Yes, I think this is a really tough week for any team, the Glenville Concord Pod, where you're facing two extremely talented teams, two well-coached teams, two tough road trips. And for Glenville, we got them obviously when we played them. Everybody was sick, or majority of the team was sick, and it was a tough game for us. A lot closer than the score indicates. So the biggest thing for us versus Glenville is we got to be able to contain their two guards. They got two stud guards, Jordan Smith, Freddie Word, and they have guys around them that rebound, knock down, catch and shoot threes, and know their role.
Well, Glenville's had an unusual season, extreme highs and lows. They do own 2 wins over Fairmont, so that shows the caliber of their team. So that's not going to be an easy one. And then we welcome Concord, again, a talented team. I think they have a win over Fairmont.
I believe so, yes.
So teams that we better be ready to play, because it's MEC play late in February, and it's going to get interesting. But that wraps up the men's edition of Inside Hilltopper Athletics, joined by Connor Harr. Connor, thanks for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me on, Coach.
And please either make the trip to Glenville or tune us in and watch our stream. See you next week.
Disasters happen. Pick the team that takes care of them all. Powered by offices in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration is ready to handle any size emergency at a moment's notice. We have the right people, knowledge, and equipment to respond 24 hours a day.
I'm Ben Howlett. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Hilltoppers call, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Hi, I'm Lynn Hart, and I'm a studio art major here at West Liberty, and I'm going to show you what it's like to be in this program. So my first class today is intermediate painting with Mr. Fensel. Studio art as a major is just about creating that exponential growth as an artist. It gives you a community of artists around you, and it's unique in its ability to curate your classes on how you want to advance as an artist. There's crossover between 3D, 2D, even if you are on the main 3D or 2D track. So in intermediate painting, we were exploring abstract work, which is a challenge for me because my art is never really abstract, but that's just another way that these classes challenge you. I really learned more about my art and myself. I'm headed to my second class today, which is silkscreen production with Professor Matusiak. This major is perfect for those who want to become full-time artists or practicing artists, and as well as those who want to advance into a Master's of Arts program. I chose this major because my goal is to teach art in a higher academia setting at an arts college or university, and this program allows me to build upon my skill and gives me opportunities to advance my ability to apply to master's programs that I'm considering and grow overall as an artist. So now I'm heading into a meeting with my advisor, Pencil.
So what I just kind of want to talk to you about today is, so you got a deadline coming up, February 19th, to apply to the Academy.
One of the things that we've been working on lately, my advisor and I, is the New York Academy of Art Summer Intensive Program, which I would not have been aware of if not for Professor Fensel. One of the main reasons I want to apply is because they focus a lot on anatomy and portraiture as a whole, which is one of my favorite things to do as an artist, and I would love to just push myself to another level within that. He really has helped me in curating what I want to create for my portfolio for this program. He's been very instrumental in my journey to complete this process. So now I'm in the ceramics lab, which is in Christ Hall, and I'm doing some studio time. So while I chose the 2D track, I did want to explore 3D in some realm, and you do have the ability to curate your classes, which allowed me to take ceramics, and when I explored that, I found it really relaxing and motivating into pushing myself into other art forms that I had never considered. So tonight is the faculty exhibition at the Nutting Gallery, and I'm gonna go check it out. So one of my favorite things about the professors in this program is just how talented they are. Seeing their work in exhibitions like the annual faculty exhibition is just very inspiring. And they are also extremely committed to helping you reach your goals and assisting you in class, as well as your own personal work. A couple of times I've brought my own work into professors and they have assisted me on how to move forward. Thank you for checking out the program with me. For more information, go to our website.
My name is Odessa Juarez. I am a fifth-year senior here at West Liberty University. I am a theater major with a costuming minor. My most recent show would have been Peter and the Starcatcher, where I played Smee, and recently we took that show to the KCACTF Theater Festival run by the Kennedy Center out in Washington, D.C., to Westchester University in Philadelphia. It is an honor to be invited to go because only a certain number of shows get invited to perform at the KCACTF Festival. It's an undescribable experience, an opportunity for somebody going into the world of theater And Kennedy Center really drives home the thought of there is more to theater than just standing on stage and saying a couple words at a few people.